Namaste, everyone. I am Raven from southeast coast of Norway, and I will upload this in that sense that I will block a part of the streamings that come in. I noticed that I have sometimes a little bit of a challenge when it comes to attention, and so the story about me is simple yet complicated in that sense that I tend to achieve my goals from one point of view very easy, and I've had a lot of friends up in the years that tend to put me on a pedestal and think that, oh, Raven, she does such things with ease, she's a multi-artist, she can do this and she can do that. And then there are the guys back in the hood, the guys or the girls back in the hood, who's like, okay, by the way, bless you all, love you so much for still being with you, bless you all for still being with me, for still being with us. Needless to say, the importance of keeping your space clean. Doesn't take much before space is cluttered, and we invite what they say in the Arabic ancient culture, the jinn, the hidden ones. Now, let's just start. Every time I do some kind of transit from one space to another, from one country to another, from one town to another, I get very strongly afflicted. As a child, they would consider me to be very unusual. I would be that typical nerd that collected cartoons, and I had no interest in most of the things they taught in the beginning. And I realized at older age it was not necessarily the theme as in mathematics, it was the way they taught things. I took a particular interest in Christianity, and for some reason I scored usually very high on religion. I was a Christian, although I saw Christianity from a different point of view as a youngling. Like, I questioned, why is it so that we know that our God is right and all the rest of the million religions in the world are wrong? So I asked the right questions very early, and these have taken me to a path where I discover the roots of many religions, what we have in common with any religions, and the difference between science, religion, and how to build a bridge between the two. Turns out that there is a large difference between what many of us call the Great Spirit versus tribal warrior gods in history who have ascended into a massive amount of people. And let's say this so-called hidden hand, the cabal, all those things that, well, this idea about conspiracy, certain things are now out in the open. It's no longer a conspiracy. We all know that. Okay, that crazy UFO motherfucker, oh, I hate to admit it, but he was right. Now, walking into that space of knowledge, I never really, it's not about achieving. Knowledge for me is everything, and I have, for the past few days, I've literally spent I don't know, from just before I started to leave, I tried to keep one foot within the spirit realm and another foot within what you see as what we see from my tribe and your tribe, your ancient tribe, the Samsarah. So the Samsarah in Hindi is something we know, because if you talk about the Hebrew religion or the Judeo religion or the there is a meaning to every word, which we think it is very, let's just say it is it's a coincidence, and as a child you learn that the entire construct of language is based on that, on something that is very coincidental. And we are raised to think that, you know, it's evolution. And we start to dig now into ancient societies, into real ancient society, and the evidence of complicated societies that in India, which have been taken for granted the whole time, still there is this wall in the West that no, that can't be, or are you that lunatic that believe in these things? And yet, despite all the craziness, I consider myself to be quite a skeptic. I'm not one of those who think that, oh, someone are filming something in the sky there that looks weird. It seems also to be that everyone's still forgotten about that spiral that went on in Norway during the Obama, you know, the Nobel Prize or something like that. Now everyone concluded within themselves it was some Russian technology we are not aware of, yada yada yada. And now we are in this time where people seem to have forgotten about the year 2020 and the explosion of what went on then. And it still breaks down to several power structures that most of you are simply unable to see, because most of you are under a hypnotic state. So what is the meaning of state? We do speak a language which is called the dead man's language. And that's another story. The more I learn about the language I speak, and trust me, I already have issues regarding language as it is enough. As a Norwegian, we speak 3 languages from childhood: Danish, Norwegian, you know, Swedish. It's come easily to us. And then English is basically today for free. I was fluent in English when I was 13. I was like, spoke it like a native. Still, there are words that, and same with Norwegian and same with other languages, there are still words that's like, I pretend I know it. I'll just Google it. By the way, the terminology, Google it. Try not to empower constitutions more than they are. So I've asked myself, what was the meaning of that path, and what is the meaning of me sitting here today? Because there are so many times I thought to myself that I failed you, I failed myself, I failed the mission, I failed doing this, and yet trying to cleanse myself. And although being affected by lower vibrational, some people would call it archons, demons, entities, or just low vibrational sound. Everything we are surrounded with are light and sound frequencies, and to that we are animated. So constantly, where we are in a urbanization, we will be bombarded by sound frequencies. Most of them are subtle enough for us not to think that there are any issues. And sometimes when we go in traffic, there is something I call not just sound pollution, but you could pretty much call it aggressive attack through sound. And that happens, that's something we use in martial arts, by coming up in your face and screaming out of the blue. First, the snake hypnotizing you. Look what I have here for you. Look closely. And then out of the blue, I can put you into a frozen state for a very small amount of time by using a rather large aggressive sound up in your ear. That's psychological. I told my mother, do not try and replicate what she or he or you did to them. Also, these kind of points that people can put in you, they are all triggers. Needless to say that we are surrounded by triggers all the time. And in that sense, what makes you think that you are in full control over your own mind at all time? What makes you think that your own perception, excuse my English again, is the one and only right one, and that your opinions, and that by having strong opinions, that creates you into, it creates great importance to your persona. We are now in I have now reached another pivotal point in creating a new awareness around me, and I simply just put seeds wherever I am by emitting energy, because that's what Iaki is about. That was given to us a few years back, and in future tense, seen from a chronological perception, which again belongs to the black rock concept, or Well, what is the black rock? Well, it is everywhere. Everything is created in squares, you know. It is Kali, it is Kronos, it is the Lord of the Rings. It is absolutely everywhere, and you are constantly being drained and milked from this energy at the same time as, you know, thinking that there is going to be some salvation, or some hero that will rescue you. That's just another Hollywood story for you, just another Disney story where all you have to do is to repent to this Jesus hero without really understanding it, because you are being represented with an external representation of what is really going on here. It's called exoteric perception of either the Bible or other religions. The Sufis were, for me, I don't know a lot about them, so bend over for that one. But just like the Sufis were in a way hidden rebellions towards the external surface of Islam. We also have esoteric Christianity and syncretism. There, you know, Rudolf Steiner, he's perceived as a Christian. He talked a lot about Ahriman, the race of Ahriman. Maybe people think that this is the race of the AI, and that Elon or Elon Musk is being hijacked, etc., etc., etc. Needless to say that I have myself the last day gathered a lot of data, trying to keep both my feet in this realm that most of you consider to be real. Real from the word real again, which has its roots in being royal or royal, the noble one, meaning the king, which is the messenger of God. Which God? That's a very good question. Was the one who determined what is real and what is not real. So if I see something but you don't, and the rest of you don't, then I'm the one who hallucinating. Halu from halo. Maybe seeing the wholeness of the situation, but you don't. Therefore, I am the crazy one. I was basically portrayed or labeled as the crazy one a long time ago, so that trait is already gone. History. We all have a crazy nature, and we all have our, you could be the Cancerian, you could be the Scorpion, yet they consist of an exoskeleton, and within that exoskeleton there are many, many soft spots, just to refer to the zodiac here. Now, 3 years ago, when my channel started to grow, just still minuscule. As a child, I had very clear autistic or Asperger-like traits. Still today, I over-criticize things I've done, things I've said. There's this inner voice that goes through, someone asked me at this channel, I feel ignored by you. If you never said or did anything directly to offend me, incredibly enough, being a baby channel with 3,000 people, needless to say that not only will I be bombarded by people who need help, and that brings me back to this Jesus Savior kind of complex, that all you need to do is to repent to Jesus and you're free, you know. And at some point it is a very nice placebo effect that now you're free, in that sense that it could easily become your crutch, you know. Something we lean ourselves towards, we become spiritual lazy and think that, you know, Jesus is going to save me, therefore I do not have any kind of responsibilities regards to yourself and your own so-called spiritual ascension. I find it very hard to explain to you things in English because very few of you still have not seen what is right ahead of you, what is right in front of your face. It's not hidden in plain sight, it's not hidden at all. And that is why there are certain things where I'm trying to be a little bit subtle about things, and at some point a lot of the information that I gained 3+ years ago about who I am, because I discovered that we are constantly affected by different kind of vibrations, basic vibrations. Carbon, as you know, is you know, if carbon, I do a calculation on it, it's 666. We are carbon-based life form, and which is also the basis of our consciousness. Is the basis, it's the cerebellum part of your brain, the survival, the one I need to live, the cravings, all these kind of things. And then you have other vibrations, you know, every kind of consciousness and self-awareness, and as this serpent energy climbs up through that tree of life, it will reach a new stage of awareness which resonate with a frequency. Now, when you see pictures of, I believe that's Rama, and many other gods or demiurges, deities, you will see many faces. In one of the cards we see someone 2 of Wands, he have two-faced, which is the Gemini and all sorts of things. And I also realized that we have many faces, and that's not necessarily negative, but it is essential to say that sometimes all those faces, they come into a crash. Like it's like, I don't know if you heard about Abraham Hicks, but Esther Hicks and Abraham and her husband, which was not Abraham, by the way, Abraham, just like I believe Ra, that is a collective consciousness field, because we like to think that I'm one unit, like that piece of puzzle that have a higher importance than the rest of the puzzle pieces. But in reality, we need that puzzle piece too that seem to be highly significant, or, you know, you don't have to appear as highly significant because your color ain't that much. However, without that last piece of the puzzle, there is no picture. So needless to say, 3 years ago, I crashed. I deleted all my videos, and I saw that the way I handle things, some of you know that I'm not going to write about that forever, because what happened, it's just part of my story, which is known as third initiation within Theosophy, also known among the Blavatskys, the theosophical societies where the third initiation is that part of your life. It's time for you to lose everything, and there are many stages of this third initiation in regards to losing anything. And in my case, it seems like the story for me was some kind of pilgrimage where it was attached a lot to the Sagittarius energy, in that sense that it there was travel involved, there was a higher learning involved, and to find out that there is a hidden knowledge behind the tropical knowledge about the houses, about how things are organized from ancient time. And there is hidden knowledge about the language we speak, which is a dead man's language, and unfortunately it's the only way I can reach through by giving out some pebbles from the light, and at the same time coming down in this density also put many of us at risk. We are all in that sense light warriors and fallen angels, but falling down, and sometimes we also have tiny falls during one lifespan and tiny ascensions during one, lifespan. It's like a child learning how to walk and then run, and bird learns how to fly. 3 years ago I closed down my channel, and I had a real breakdown watching. It was like watching my face being pulled down by gravity. I was shocked to see how obvious my grief was, and confusion about who it was still there. Who am I supposed to be? Who am I supposed to represent myself as towards you? Because the only thing I knew at that point was to decipher the very hidden code which we find in the cards which do have roots in ancient Kemet, also today known as Egypt. And Kemet, this is also where we get the word alchemy or chemistry. And the entire knowledge is all about you. And I've told you a little bit about this before, that the story is not, because I constantly meet people, like I told you, they want my head on a stake, and they put themselves above other people. And these are people that I think, I still care, a lot of them. I had a big long dream about a girl which have somehow managed to villainize me and create all these stories about me because of one single event. And in that dream she came back to me because we have so many similarities in our mannerism and the things we like, but in that sense her mind in this continuum is lost to a very low vibration. But she came back to me in that dream, and I realized that these so-called enemies, these people who find pleasure in seeing me, oh look, she's not doing so well, she's on this and this drug, look, oh my god, I've had so many people accusing me of burglary and prostitution, theft, all sorts of less flattering character traits. And like Don Miguel Ruiz said, don't take things personal. And the truth is, I don't hate these people for doing it. Sometimes I've been catched by rage, and the difficult part is that when people who work for the government is the word govern the mind, is standing behind these people and being so easily manipulated by people who are just, let's put it in a very simple way, lesser educated. They got very little knowledge about what happens when you throw out that negative frequency out there and you project negativity onto others, and you villainize, you spend so much time on villainize one specific individual. You claim that all the problems in this world are because of other people. That too is a form of the popular word called narcissism. Like it's everyone else's fault that I am in this position. If that person can just get out of my life, all my problems are solved. And see, especially when things are taken out of context, see, I'm right about her. See, she's falling asleep, she's tired, she's losing her sense of speech, not really knowing that. How do you know how I am, who I am, why I am here? You know, I can tell you everything that the few days I struggle with a very strange allergic reaction in my skin. There is always an extreme challenge emotionally to detach myself from my home country and my child, and to be literally ridiculed, opposed on all levels, with maybe having 3 people close to me in my back following me up. Of course there will be reactions, and that is when I become as a human as well worried about, well, okay, will I be able to keep up with this channel? Is the foundation enough on this channel to keep up being here, serving you? Because I see that the foundation, when it comes to this, again, very crucial point, because I've been building businesses before. I have a lot of experience when it comes to building things, and when just before I reach that tiny piece where the eye is placed, it's like, what to do now? What do people expect of me now? And how did I forget something down there? And who am I? What do people expect of me from here? What I can deliver? And I realized, unfortunately, that, okay, first of all, some of you think you are ignored by me. If you are a troll and a bully and you find pleasure in pulling me down, I feel truly sorry for you, because you have not really understood yourself and the tricks and traps that we you think that the real world is out there, which is simply just an imaginary world which reflects you and yourself. And that is something that is a foundation that is being grounded, or we are being fed or groomed from you are between 0 to 7 years old, where we build the first. I'm even a little bit tired of using those, those Vedic word that turned into some kind of fashion constructs and people really do not have so much clue about what they are. These energy points, these energy wheels, that has to do with awareness and consciousness. And at some point, the crown of the matter is being locked, and that's when you have your identity, your name, and that's when we are going to find out, okay, who do you want to become when you are, when you grow up, how much can you earn, how much can you deliver, and there are a lot of expectations to you. So I am or was one of those, and still probably am one of those, who opposed all those social structures. I simply didn't fit in. 3 years back, I realized, no, I can't do this. There are too many expectations of me. And I reached that point where I need to reorganize the time and the channel a little bit without giving you any promises. I have been in a place where, you know, in transit, I always get some sign of some kind of reaction. Like when I went to Kathmandu, I got lung infection. That was reaction to, you know, the environment. I get emotional reactions, like it's you know, obviously it's a trauma having to leave your young offspring, and not really, you know, you are in chains somehow, and this kind of change or this locker is something that people really, they either want to label you as someone who don't want to take responsibility. I realized that even if I did that sacrifice back then, when I said, okay, I'm going to be here, I'm going to fight for this, I realized that these people I'm up against, because what I've seen within people who are labelized as narcissists, or who they actually feed on negativity. They actually enjoy seeing you being defeated, and they actually enjoy war. They enjoy coming together and finding ways to bully people, in order to raise their own small little, you know, whatever they are. And I see that many people, they lack so much creativity of their own that they need to steal what you create. They mimic you sometimes, and when you say, you know, if you give them enough space into their life, if you accept too much space into a certain amount of people because they have given this to you or given that to you, you realize that you also have someone in your life who find them entitled to somehow control how you should be, that fit into their own social structure of how a person should be. And they also project onto me things that I have done and I have said, things that I'm not necessarily proud of, but things I have not necessarily done with, you know, that could be incorrect or not. But they put so much energy in those traits that you have that are less flattering. Look, see, she's now in this energy of not really being with us. Someone says she's completely in the spirit world. Someone says she looks really tired. Someone says, oh, she's been drinking the shaman juice. She's with on spirits now. You know, there are many opinions about it. And always when I transit, there is always trauma connected to it. I'm now again away from the source of where my ego feels safe. Ego connected to Archangel Jophiel for some reason in some of the tarot cards. The foundation is now built on a lot of people who expect me to deliver a lot of content for free. And needless to say, I cannot serve all of you for free whenever it suits you. We all need to protect ourselves in days like these, and there is no savior for you out there. You are the solution to all your problems. You need to do more research on the language you speak, because, you know, this is why I hesitate. I don't know if you notice, but I don't say I'm illuminated, you know, or you're illuminated, or let's illuminate. What I do say is illumination. I might be incorrect about learning these things, like a vowel followed up by 2 consonants is a no, so we're literally wandering around saying no contract, no contract, no contract. Most people, I can reach them up to the frequency of the solar plexus, because I've noticed that a lot of people on this channel is me. I was first, I clicked like first. You know, you treat it like it's a row, and I've tried all sorts of things to try to find something that is fair for you all. Even because at some point I realized that there is very little activity on the channel until going from a new season into a new season. Where we've been through spring, it's now, or winter, or I don't know, but now I realized that the part where the season, where the channel needs to be more organized. Needless to say that I need help, assistance. Only with 3,000 people, I am in need of some kind of assistance. And to continue this work, and I do find other people who are literally on the same vibration as me. Ironically, 2 of them are Aquarius people. One of them are on our channel, and he's just so wonderful. He understands and he know a little bit more, I think, about what's going on than he truly says. He says, Raven, I can see it's time for you to go to bed, without creating any labels or judgments. I really, this channel means so much to me, even when I'm, you know, I've been in a point now where I've been literally drained. I don't understand what is draining me. Well, I have this new great apartment, and at some point I walk out and I'm gone for a few days every time I transit into a new world, and I'm like, what is draining me? Well, I found out a few things which are connected to the Kabbalistic tree of life. However, it turns out that they are only teaching you 1 grain, in contradiction to the Yggdrasil tree, which is my own pagan religion from before Christianity took over. So basically, although I'm smacked out And I'm going to be honest with you, the heat here, it's kind of also a bigger challenge than I thought, because there's no AC here, and how the air is going here, it's so hot here that I sometimes think, am I still in Thailand? I have trouble breathing, and if I open up here, there's going to be a killer of mosquitoes. The heat, and you can barely see it now, but if you see close upon, the entire neck is responding extremely negative to some necklaces that I did not react upon before. So this is something also I need to check out. This constantly tiredness from the heat and the stress of trying to pick things together apart, realizing that, okay, this is a new world, this is a new chapter, and I realized that not all of it is organized. If any one of you out there, I'm very about that. When you give me something, I really want to deliver you back whatever you have paid me for, or whatever service. I'm obsessed with balance. I'm in Kundalini chart or in Vedic chart, which are known to be more they are both based on a system which is, it's none of them are wrong. It's just that the Vedic chart or the Kundalini is more specific. And in this Vedic chart, I'm full Libra, no Scorpio. I'm just a big mixture of Libra, Aquarius, and Gemini, and that is someone who, and in both charts, Mercury is my highest point, my main planet, with Mars on top of my ascendant. So despite that I can come out as a little bit aggressive, the medium Queely can swap between Aries and Neptune. That, okay, now Raven is gone. She's in fairy tale world. But behind all this, I fight for knowledge, I fight for the truth, and with, needless to say, with Sun, Moon, Pluto, Uranus, Mercury in Libra, like 5 placement in Libra. One here were bragging about being a double air sign or triple air sign. Well, try me. It's actually making sense to me that my path in this life is more than just deliver to you content about, spy on your ex-girlfriend or boyfriend. Hopefully, I do see that people are climbing onto my channel, and I failed to respond to all of you. And I tell you, please do the math. When we had 9-hour session, there was 3,000 people visiting my channel. Some people come in, they unsubscribe because they think they're being ignored. They keep on waiting, and that's why I put on a $10. It's some kind of a defense. And the thing is that my content is equally valuable as many others. I dare to say that, you can go and ask someone who would tell you, pay me $40-50 one question, and you'll get your one question within a limited amount of time, maybe 20 minutes. And this makes also the value of my work to many people less valuable. Some of you take for granted that, oh, we are best friends. you need to understand that adding me on Facebook is futile. I don't know who you are on Facebook. Okay? I don't know who you are. 3,000 people is not a lot of people. I know who some of you are. Some people I connect with more than others. People, you know, Tim, Redbeard, now, you know, our beautiful moderators. I really cannot do anything but this. I'm grateful for your support and your understanding. For those of you, if you feel that Raven, this and this is lacking, just send me an email, and please, I ask of you to understanding that we are in the middle of a transit now where I need to find a new system which is fit all of us. We still need to regrow the channel, but I'm going to be honest with you, to build a channel based on people who are not interested in the truth, who are not interested in learning about what the tree of life is, who are not interested in learning about the fact that you are a magician in your own world. Sometimes I do pranks. I am a prankster, and so I use a lot of humor. Sometimes I pull my sense of humor too far. Sometimes I talk too much. Sometimes I digress. Yes, I am inside a human body and I have my human flaws, but needless to say that if you are around someone, if you have a friend and they think you are too intense, find someone who loves your intensity. Try to walk away from labelizing things, and you need to understand that I'm now in a point where I need to restructure and think about the future of the channel, because my obsession with the cards will not stop, because my mind is all about knowledge. The things I've been digging into for the past few years, turns out that there are minds out there who have been digging up the exact same things that I thought that I found. Oh my God, I found this, me, myself, and my own beautiful ego. Oh, I found the answer of that. Turns out someone else, maybe it's the monkey effect, you know. Other people also find out that. And so what we are working on now is there are different languages that can be used. However, it cannot, you know, if I'm going to deliver a message for you, your ex-boyfriend, and these things, then I have to speak the Babel, also known as the dead man's language. And some of the things, some of the content is, let's just say, it's knowledge that's quite, it's not necessarily advanced, it's just that it is a lot to take in. So you need to be spoon-fed. And many of you are not here. You're not interested in that kind of knowledge. You are obsessing about your love life, your money, and things that are external of you, because you are still operating on the lower vibrations, which are also the 3 first chakras, that wants to survive, that wants to procreate, and that wants to be seen, that wants to be heard, that feels that your situation is very special. And this is also traps and tricks you find on I do now see more and more AI where you can smell AI just from the content, the way they try to lure you in to create more segregation, and that we are in each other's throat. And remember, when you do that, when you attack someone else, not only have you lost, because there is yin and yang, and if you want to attack the yin for being yang and the yang for being, yin and yang, if you want to attack the yin for not being like you, yang, and the other way around, we have imbalance. There is imbalance, okay? So I'm disappointed to see that people I thought would understand, because you will see me where I will be lost to you. You will see me now and then where I create outrageous content because I'm forced constantly to be silenced about why my home was taken from me, how it was done, and how I'm constantly being villainized from not being with my child, my heart. They only choose to look at these dark sides where I have not succeeded to live up to the soccer mom hero structure. Even if I did, I would have other people who would oppose me, who would feel jealous of how easy it is to be a soccer mom and deliver to the social structure of the society where you are expected to be someone who are fitting into that very frame, which is actually the downfall of you all. Jesus is not your savior. There is no savior outside of you. So I am here to teach you, not to teach you, I can teach you certain things, but I'm here to guide you or share with you the knowledge and content that I found through reading, through studies. And certain knowledge will be given to you because you are a walking radio station, and you send out information. You also receive information all the time, which are being disrupted by frequencies that trying to keep you down on a structural level that makes you easily access as a cattle, or as many of you don't get the fact that you are nothing but to someone like rats in a cage. Some of you are test subjects, some of you are cattle, and I don't like to labelize any of you like this, but when you understand your own, that you are sovereign, again, my work is to find out, okay, what is the meaning of sovereign? Well, it's two meanings. If we speak English and stick to the dead man's language, it means that you are equal as any royal person on earth. There is no one above you, no one below you. There is no one who are better than you, and there is no one who are worse than you. If you look it up, the real meaning of sovereign, you'll get a shock. You'll get shocked what the word itself means. I might have stumbled upon that before, So for many years now, if you are familiar with June, the Bene Gesserits, you will see that there is a very parallel concept where the fall of the divine feminine was depicted in Enuma Elish, the ancient Sumerian mythology, which is also has a similar structure in Norrøn mythology. It's about, in the Enuma Elish, it is the fall of Tiamat, the divine feminine, being portrayed and demonized, that afterwards you will see this great king's list. King meaning messenger of God. Akka, angel, which again, Akka, an angle of God, in this sense known as El, electricity, matter, magnetism. Already now you lost me. So I've done this for many years. So I feel that the importance of this kind of work, trying to find the correct language so we can speak heaven into matter. Like I told you before, heaven, hell, literally the heel. You are the kingdom. You are the temple of Solomon. You are temp, also literally meaning temporary, temperance, chronos, time, all these things. The ascension being literally chemistry, alchemy, the philosopher's stone. All these things are you. And needless to say that when we do yoga, we fuse the mind of the body. I've also heard about people who claim they are being, it's a demonic exercise, and if something is good, there's also, if something is good, as in yang, there's always a yin as well. And so I listened to someone today who's got a baby child like me, and we are talking literally more or less about the same thing, but where she fills up some holes in my sheet, it seems like I can do the same. So hopefully I can grow this channel on people, more and more people that want to learn more. And we are a group of people now who have these baby channels. And one of the greatest lectures have a side to him that he's completely insane when he loses his mind. And so these are the things I also want to discuss, like what kind of frequency did he tap into, because the knowledge itself resonates and sound logic, as we know that the very existence of itself, even Nikola Tesla said it, is all about sound vibrations, it's light, vibration, frequencies, all these things. I have long time now been in search of a different language that can help you manifest the ultimate reality. And every time I say that now it's time to find more information about this, it's landing in my lap. And truth to be told, the information that I get is so massive that I now started to just I'm taking notes and I'm writing down, and like I'm talking to you about the 144,000 chosen ones, and I was like saying a lot of weird things, because truth be told, I concluded that the chosen one is you if you choose it. And now there is more information about that, and it has its root in the Vedas. And it is simple, it's a no-brainer, and this is also things that, if you're interested, because the journey that you're walking upon. Either you walk with me, or you are hanging onto my bum, wanting to know more about what your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend is up to, when you get pregnant, when you get your career, and chase all those things which is connected to your solar plexus. And at some point we are not going to divide you, but it's possible, we are I'm trying to find a solution where I will try to diverse those who need help with the simple things, where I can perhaps feed you with some small lucky coins and remind you that is the fusion within yourself, the marriage between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. It's something that first of all needs to, it's something that happens within you, just like the fusion of what we call lead hog, the serpent, also known as Ouroboros or something like that. He's biting his own tail. He surrounds Midgard. He's in the roots by that tree, and when he raised this is, prana, the kundalini, the serpent energy that I want to talk a little bit more to as well. So that is the lower aspect of you. The marriage is then fusing. It's you create a bridge between the higher version of you, which is Horus, or the falcon on top of that tree of life, and it's been depicted in all religions, just in different ways. Now, because I asked about more access, I literally get these peeping sounds into my head, and I also literally are very, very sensitive to many judgments that are being cast upon me, and many expectations to should you deliver this date, or many people who think you're either ignored by me, or you don't think I listen to you. Some of you young ones feel you are entitled to get a free read for me just because I open up the channel. Turns out that also there are practical things like PayPal. I honestly don't trust them. It's easy to use, but I want to find more, like you tell people, don't put all your eggs in one basket. There is a change now also in the financial structure, so we discuss those things as well. What I would advise most of you is to try, because a lot of doomsday prophecies have been falling into my system lately, where I've been hypnotized and freaked out, and even got one panic attack by getting information about a vampire cult that took place in 1963 of Mexico. And for some reason, digging into this forbidden knowledge, which is directly harmful to you, I highly recommend you to stay away from horror movies that are all about dismembering people and are all based on fear and these things. There are always certain excitements, watching a movie like Twilight, it taste the word twilight. It's a light sense of entertaining, in that sense that if you're aware, you're not necessarily pulled down into a hole that is pure, hellish, to what I've seen. So I've seen hellish worlds, and I've seen all kinds of worlds, and many of these spheres, also known as Sephiroth sephiroths in the Kabbalistic tree of life. Someone here claimed that, and that's also what I found a little bit odd, because I find that the tree of life, there are certain stagnant energies there. The Hebrew text there is not really a language or a sandwich or a sandwich. So if you want to have a personal training in some of the things I can guide you in, that's possible. We have one, I've had many students in my past, but that was like, okay, how to draw a manga figure, you know, or how to make something like this in Photoshop, or how to do tribal fusion belly dance. So I'm very diverse, but I never got my master's degree in any kind of thing. We do, however, see that many people who are autodidactive, they sometimes create the greatest of things because they are not narrowed down or are in this fear of losing their beautiful title. Oh, my PhD, you know, I will be squeezed out of the establishment, and my PhD will stand, you know, it will be at stage, whatever stage, yeah, fiddling with the words again. Anyway, I think I have most of the information now. I would love to really try to glitch out some of the babble I put in here. However, just think of it as me and you having coffee. This is that stage I was when 3 years ago I thought, okay, this is now too much. My meltdown, I didn't know who I was, how to keep delivering, and many of the things that I had suppressed because I'm not allowed to talk or utter any opinion about what happened, you know, what situation I'm in, and I've been overthinking and sleeping, oversleeping, overdrained, being in a dream world, and overthinking some of the content I put up there that, you know, creates reactions. Sometimes I put up this content because, you know, sometimes most of it's been very subtle, and now recently I also saw that the content I recently put up regarding my daughter, it's on an edge. It will create more trouble for me, but in the end of the day, I don't want anyone to be in misery, because selfishly enough, your misery is my misery, you know. There are many questions around that, and it disappoints me to see that people that you welcome into your life, they accepted you with your flaws. I've had issues with aggression in my past. I found the solution to it, and now I see the people you admired for some reason in the past. I see that there is a great lack of knowledge. I see that sometimes you're not allowed to see one single word, and then you explode, and the only way I've managed to express myself is through humor, through a crazy sense of sarcasm. And I do still believe that we need to be less fearful of when it comes to humor. Humor is in so many ways oh, there was a beautiful, yeah, there is an ancient city called Kjør. They went to Kjør. where they would find salvation. And so, yeah, I think that a sense of humor without ridiculing people, and you know, there is a fine line there. There is a fine line there. I love to mimic people. I've always been an actor, and I always love to do pranks and tell jokes, and sometimes I cross the line. Sometimes the jokes can be seen as cruel. However, some people, I see them as a little bit uptight, and I feel that they focus really on the wrong thing. I mean, in that sense that there are really big things happening in the world right now. War, poverty, and some of you instead of preparing yourself for something enormous that is taking place right now, you focus on belittling people. You focus on everything that is wrong with someone you know, people's character traits. You are completely being distracted all the time from what is really important here. Hypnotizing people is not really difficult. I've seen it with my own eyes, how easy it is to myself be hypnotized. You know, he told Aladdin, when you go into that cave, do not be distracted by all the gold that you see, by all the treasures that you see. I'm one of those. I go into that treasure vault and I will be like, what's the point with that lamp? Oh my God, those gemstones are just beautiful, before I have to, you know, pull myself in my own neck. So those are all appealing to your lower chakras. And so this thing with I am, which is now new in the religion, you know, in the New Age movement, that I am is actually connected to the root chakra on and alone. That's the zodiac sign of the Ram, I am. So we need to add those little extra layers, and with the heart chakra, which is the fall of the divine feminine, it's the fruit, and it has far more magnetism than the brain. You know, it's far more powerful. It's a brain on its own. It is the divine feminine, and the greatest of dragons, that was, you know, the fall of Lilith, the fall of Eve, or evil, or, you know, Adam, or Atom. All these things are chemical processes that are taking part within you as you. And sometimes they have, these things also take part in the external world as a reflection. So when certain things happen within you in an awakening, and sometimes you go into this, you know, you fall sometimes. We fall all the time on our way up that mountain. We have a few falls and we think, okay, I lost the game. Sometimes all you need is a rest. And the problem here, although I don't like that word either, is that when someone stretches out a hand, there's a lack of trust. Does he really want me to take that hand, or will he let go? We live in a world now where we are being divided, and it's so easy for people, for the hidden hand, the Kabbalah, or the shadow government, whatever you call them, to take care of all of us, to keep milking us, to use us as fuel. Tell you that the people call the matrix the matrice, just like when you do the IQ test with Mensa, they call it the Raven matrices test. Matrice, the mother, the matter. All it takes for them is to, you know, when I studied neuro-linguistic programming, it's so easy really to hypnotize people into thinking, you know, and not to mention, you know, hypnotizing people to create a state of mind. When you are watching television, you are in a hypnotic state of mind. And then you get like, oh yeah, it's like this. Oh yeah, it's like that. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Oh yeah. The truths of the truth, you need to do that research on your own without distractions. It's nice to use the internet as a reference. At the end of the day, it's also quite wonderful to, you know, books written by brains, real brains, and I'm not talking about Doreen Virtue here. Her content is cute for the people who are newly initiates. I'm sad to say that she's fallen into a dark vibration, which you know, she now, it's sad to see something so wonderful. She was on a very good path there, but it's also childlike in that sense that it's suitable for people who are within the new age community, and then there is this next level where you're going to learn the real secrets. And some of those things, you had to figure them out of your own. So I asked for it. I asked, show me the real language, not the real as a royale, but the language and how to do it and how to figure it out, which is the language of the light. So I learned that, okay, the Druids, they did not write anything down. And who are the Druids? We know that mudras and mantras, they are also known as the twilight language. We also know that if you can cleanse yourself as much as possible, you also need to, you know, protect yourself. This is still a question. I learned from a Kabbalist today, a rabbi. He's very interesting, and he, you know, Kabbalism can be seen as Sufism, almost like a rebellion side to the social structure of these religions, just like esoteric Christianity, which is astrotheology, theosophy, and the Gnostics. They were kind of opposing what we know as traditional Christianity today, where you could almost basically see that, well, there is, without putting any labels to it, a hand on top, where someone here are the puppet masters and someone are the puppets. So in order to take a few steps back and just observe this without creating labels, that's also part of the shinobi structure, also known as the ninjas in that time. So the thing is that when you can manage, because right now I realize that I have to make one sacrifice in order to give something back, and the sacrifice is not done by necessarily cleansing myself and run into the wilderness and sit in a yoga position and connect back to the universe. I've done that many times already, and I'm already doing it, as we are multidimensional beings, and so forth and so forth. Right now, my sacrifice, a sacrifice can be cleansing your own home, getting rid of shit, or cleansing your mind. You can, a sacrifice has nothing to do with taking someone's life. That is the left-hand path, basically. Even when I'm tapped into giving a little bit blood in the name of the greater good, someone claimed that this is also not a really positive way of acting. Although I don't feel harmed, I feel less harmed by that than drinking a liter of Coke. There are some things there I see that someone talked about recently that I need to learn more about. Maybe it's something ancient within me that enjoys that sensation, and it's also a rebellious part of me that says, I'm not cool with that sacrificing animals still take place today, and also sacrifice of other living beings in general. Blood sacrifice in general is the left-hand path. Some of you like to call it black magic, and it's easy to say it's for the greater good. Well, if you need to start a ritual with, and that's actually the beginning of Christianity. It was a battle between two tribes. It was between Yahweh and Baal, and the Israelites versus, I believe it was the Canaanites. That's just how I remember the story briefly. This goes a little deeper than that. But it was a battle between two gods, and they were both tribal gods, and they both required sacrifice. It seems to me that one god was more benevolent than the other, just like Abel and Cain one was more benevolent than the other, but the one that offered blood sacrifice was the one that would win over the gods, the Elohim, because it was originally it was a pandemonium, was a word, But let's just say it was not monotheistic. At some point it became more and more monotheistic, and the god that managed to create the largest sun and burn that ball into ashes or whatever, he's the winner. This is a very brief story. You can do your own research there. And it was Yahweh. Baal, the beautiful one, is also known as a title. It's the energy, the worship, is symbolized usually with grains. It's a big world, and if you're gonna go there, needless to say, it's going to be very confusing to you. Try to make it simple, try to stick to yourself. Many, atheists, or, just walking within, and, it can be misunderstood that focus on you, it can be seen as something very selfish. But in order to be able to give light to others, you must be able to produce your own. And the sacrifice I'm doing now is it comes with a price. What price, you may ask? Well, let's just say curiosity killed the cat. I realized there is a reason that some secret is being, you know, that some things are being kept secret, or it's literally being hidden from you. And why it's hidden in plain sight? Because it's put there by some of them and by two opposing forces that says it's very subliminal. This is who we are. The bull is another facet of L, which is the cube, the black cube, the black rock, everything square, everything of that frequency. And that is basically the world we live in now. And there are other subliminals hidden around, you know, in, well, everywhere, that are more, you'll feel perhaps more lifted when you receive the information. You need to learn how to follow your stubborn guts, or well, you will recognize that when you recognize these things, you'll see that, oh, it was never really hidden for me. The next stage begins. The Jacob's ladder, Jacob being literally the guy who is like the Nidhogg, or the, you know, the snake that bites his own tail. He's bending backwards in a chakra, you know, which we see a lot in yoga, Kalari. Like my friend Shijin, he does this a lot. And by preserving the temple of Solomon, or yourself, your temple, your own kingdom, through yogic practices, it's about breathing techniques, it's about focus. You can attain wings like this. It's Quetzalcoatl, it's the fusion of the lower self and the higher self. And when you reach a certain stage, you realize that you not only are a radio station that emit energies, but you also receive energies. So you are always a bridge between not just one world, but many worlds. And so what you let in, where focus goes, energy flows. And lately I have, unfortunately, letting a lot of negative vibrations coming in to this zone, to the zone here, and to affect many of my decisions, which have been, you know, I could call them destructive. And sometimes people stumble, we dwell in the bushes for longer than necessary. The journey that I felt, okay, could it have been any different? I'm not sure how it could have been different, because at some point all of you need to take this journey and to learn how to obtain this knowledge, and to understand and understand and understand that you were never really lost. You can burn libraries You can pull down the curtain. But in the end of the day, spirit will always be spirit. And someone said that he sees tarot readers always, all the time, that are not connected to spirit. I couldn't help myself but go in there and say, you know, you cannot disconnect from spirit. I assume he might find that annoying. But I understand, you know, I don't like it always either when people are coming in to pick on me like this, because it's just a figure of speech, you know. It's just a figure of speech. At the same time, I remind you that you're never disconnected as spirit. Like she says in this movie, Julia Roberts, that God dwells within me as me. So there's nothing really to look for. What you look for is already here. That's probably one of the final stages, that when you see that, you look outside of you and you see that, oh, that's me. You see yourself in other people. They will be suspicious to you when you offer your hand, because at some point in life they lack trust in everyone. And needless to say, I'm one of those that giving yourself away too cheap. Is it good? Is it bad? You know, but you see yourself in everyone and everything, in everything rotten, in everything ripe and beautiful. You see yourself in each and every individual. And at some point, it's going to clarify itself, and you're going to experience that these things happen more and more often the more you accept that I am that I am, so hum. And that is kind of what is spiraling through me all day, and that you need to understand that yes, I will keep. It seems to me that for me, working with pictures, decoding symbols, working with also communication and how to communicate in a language which is more beneficial for us. Go back before the fall of Babylon, when we were unified as one consciousness who could work together, which clearly was a threat to those who still treat you and I as cattle. But you also need to understand that who are the Anunnaki, who are the rulers, and who are the ones who submit to this rulership? Well, you are all of that. You are the alien you've been looking for your entire life. Whatever you are searching for is also in search of you. That heaven you thought you lost, and you search for it, also seeks you. You seek each other. This is the true hidden knowledge, or the truth behind that thing where we seek our twin flame as part of the twin flame path. Now, many people take this very literally and obsess with sexuality, with schmexuality, and thinking that as soon as I find my twin flame, everything will be okay. There are still a lot of honestly, I don't think it is as easy as this guy who says he called himself Kurt on one of the, asked you talk to the guy from this and this channel, you know, who constantly appeal to the divine masculine who is outside of you and thinking about you, who is creating false hopes and a focus. But is it really your highest passion in life to seek for your better half? You know, the one person outside of you that will fulfill you? Is that really your highest goal in life? Do you really think that by finding your true love, the knight in shining armor or the princess in the tower, do you really think that this is the true path? Is that your highest goal? Well, maybe you are really romantic of nature. Maybe you should paint, write, create this romantic universe where you keep finding this knight in shining armor again and again and again. This is some kind of love addiction, fantasy. I live in a fantasy world myself where I keep going back into a world which I named, by the way, and it's memories from other lives, basically. And I realized that it's completely, you know, if we are meant to be with someone, it will happen naturally. And so in the end of the day, none of you are being ignored by me on this channel unless you are on my channel and put me on a pedestal where, well, Raven told me that the solution is like this. Thing is that when I give you a few minutes to translate a few cards, I give you a very tiny strain of truth. You need to see the bigger picture, that the tree consists of many strains, just like your DNA spiral, you know, and your genes, you know. You have 4 grandparents and then 8 great-grandparents, and you know, you can double it all the time. And from there, you know, when you do the DNA test, you find perhaps only from one strain. And in that sense, I realized that pulling one card and tell you about so many meanings about that one card that you can learn from the meaning of that one card alone is something I have undervalued. I cannot serve all of you. I cannot be your personal servant and ask all of your questions whether or not you will win the lottery. I cannot respond to 3,000 people who are stopping by my channel and don't you remember me, and you take it personal. You show up with completely, you know, names. I know some of you, but then you also need to understand that the world does not evolve around you, and just because I have my focus elsewhere in order to try and keep my focus on what is positive without being affected. Because when I open up like this, what I do, when I do my best to give you the best answer I can need, you need to understand that this is a little bit, it is listed as an entertaining channel, right? And so we are literally playing tarotchi or taroko, where, okay, this resonates because it seems to me that the cards, when we are in the true, when we are vibing, the synchronicity is absolutely amazing, and they have been very useful for me in that sense. But when you come back again and again and again, of course, it boosts my algorithm, but it also creates the foundation of what I'm trying to build very weak. First of all, I'm not doing you any favor by telling you that, oh, this time your ex-husband is, because I've noticed that some of you get a kick of getting a feedback where I tell you that, oh, he or she, they still love you, they obsess over you. And as you've noted, I don't always give you that answer. Sometimes I am different in that sense, not just that authenticity is very important for me, but you cannot rely your entire life on cards alone. You need to evolve. And some of you, I've noticed you're very young. You come in and some of you even feel entitled to a read, and I don't like this thing where there is being a big split with people who have money and people who don't. Now, understand me on this part, that I've been scrubbing enough floors in this lifetime now. So those who have the resources to invest in me, put their trust in me and my channel, they will be prioritized before you. And if you truly understand the magic of money, like how come I am someone who literally find money on the floor even when I'm taking a walk. Just walked 2 days ago and I find money on the ground. Not saying I found $1 million, but like, oh, that's a big drink, you know, and you're tired and you forgot your, you know, it's, when you manage to tap into that, that's something I could teach you, but it can take many years before, because most of you are being programmed into thinking that you have to work from 9 to 4, or some of you have to work even 12 hours. Most of you are under a programming, or most of you are hypnotized into thinking that there you need to deliver something all the time, when in reality you don't. But there are, so that the society is now being rebuilt upon this facet that we now are under a different kind of control, where current C is, well, it's a long time since it was based on gold, we all know that. Now it's chain blocking, and I don't want to read the future. I'm not a fan of it, because there are millions and millions of alternative futures out there for you, and that's why I strictly warn you to tap into any kind of propaganda that might mislead you, or even feed you with things that sound very logic, but it will bring you out of the golden path where you are supposed to find your own higher self. That's your own guardian angel. We are constantly being bombarded with, don't keep your focus on you because that's selfish. Well, who else are going to take the showers for you? We could hire a servant for all sorts of things, but in the end of the day, you are the one who's going to have to swallow the food and breathe out. No one can take a shit for you. That's all you. And so in that sense, only you can fusion or take that snake and raise those vibrations up to your higher self. In that sense, when we reach a level where we fall out of language, and it's very draining, when I open up a streaming for you to be here to serve you as much as I can, I also open up a portal to many different beings of you out there who not all of you have a vibration which is positive for me. We are all creating portals all the time. Some of you feel maybe entitled that I am here. I was first. I've been waiting for a long time. Therefore, the fact that you subscribe to my channel in the long run is not going to be enough if it breaks down my own frequency. And that's why it's better for me to sometimes just upload what I have on my mind. Upload lectures for free, and that some content in the long run is not something I'm going to speak of, because there needs to be something given in return. It needs to be an exchange. My knowledge, it needs to be, that's the Libra in me that says, I'm here to create peace. I'm here to create a fusion between the yin and the yang. And we do see that there is a split between people who are poor, people who are rich. However, that's also a mindset. Because if you are walking around and you are in a mindset subconsciously thinking that someone else have more right to that abundance than you have, that's work you need to do. Only you can do that research on finding out why is it so that someone have access to more abundance than you do. Having a poverty mindset is also a mindset, and it will keep you there. So when I say that I sometimes channel collective, it was something I started to do early, and now I see other people do the same. Not many do that, but I've seen them, I heard them, and I vibrate, and I am with them. Now I'm going to take it easy. I'm not going to share spill all those cards, because already some of you think that the knowledge that I possess is cheap because of certain programmings that you have. I have been forced to deliver out certain content private under pseudonyms that are masculine. Incredibly enough, the divine feminine is so suppressed that my word as a female is subconsciously coming out as less valuable than if my voice was masculine. Feel free to disagree with me on this one, but this is not just about the diversion between race. Taste the word race. Race is actually a competition. It's also diversion between class, between knowledge, between the divine feminine and the divine masculine. And needless to say, Tiamat, she's still slain. The divine feminine is still slain. If you read the book called June, you will see that this is where the divine masculine is being controlled. The hidden hand is the Bene Gesserit witches, and they use the voice to control you if they want. They can make you do whatever they want by using the voice. And in that sense, it was Muad'Dib, who was the Kwisatz Haderach, who managed to control, in the end, control the Shai Hulud, or at least not. That's actually a little bit later in those books. Someone who will be able to control the Shai Hulud, also known as the Shaitan, which in the end of the day is very similar to what we know as the Holy Serpent. I'm not going to spoil anything more about the Holy Serpent and these things, but this is where the Savior is all of a sudden on the prophet Muad'Dib, the desert mouse. It's a race of the divine masculine. However, he do take over a lot and become a reverend mother himself by taking in the spice. But if you pay attention to the rest of the books, you will see that the divine feminine here, the hidden hand here, is still lurking in the shadows, but when the Kwisatz Haderach became as the Messiah, we also do see the deception here that everyone falls down to their feet, and that was his burden, actually, to see that in order to become this Messiah, there is a burden attached to this. You will have a lot of followers, but you will also have a lot of people who will call you out as a false prophet or the tyrant. There's a lot of, responsibilities to take upon yourself this task, or to take upon yourself that throne, because yes, he's very humble, but in order to be that strong leader, he also needs to inhabit that voice. And his voice is actually, in the end of the day, he managed to possess all the powers that the Reverend Mothers of the Bene Gesserits do. Only some get to be Reverend Mothers, some of them die, some of them live, and in a Reverend Mother is someone who basically, if you're going to translate this, you have the access to the Akashic archive, and you have the access to the other versions of you living right here and right now. Now, that's what I have to say for now. I hope you have patience with me. Sometimes I need to stretch myself, my body, and I disappear into the spirit world, and I will dwell away for some time. Making promises, for me, that was not something I was never really good at. I can only tell you as much as my passion and my heart is doing this work to spread information. And just because I know I failed some of you, in that sense that I'm not really a good secretary, I need something, because we are growing now, I need more, like there was this book called Cash in a Flash I read once. It was a funny book, and it made me write the book. It was inspirational, written by two guys, and they said at some point you're going to need an angel team. I read many books to talk about the angel team, and needless to say that when you build up something as, you know, where you want to give out as authentic content as possible, you want to give out, you know, it's impossible to get it all pure, because that's all on you, you know. I'm trying to create something here that someone can inherit. It's my responsibility. I brought life into this world, so if I cannot be in this world, it's very important for me that I create something that if she wants, she can take over this knowledge if she feels that this is for her. But that's not something I take for granted. My father is a musician, and he's a very, in my I don't like the word opinion, but the way I see it is this kind of Christian perception with, well, let's just say they are flying balloons out there, you know. It's like farting balloons flying around there, and they will land. I have yeah, that's another story. Extreme Christian beliefs where you honestly think that the man is the head of a woman and Jesus is the head of a man, and then they fuse two different books together, the Jesus story and the ancient story based on an ancient warrior god. That's something I already revealed to you, that okay, that's not the knowledge I can say, hey daddy, I completely agree with you, this sounds very clever, however I have to, if I'm gonna have to take sides here, I feel that I'm more on the side with the Igigi, also known as the Watchers, or yeah, the so-called fallen ones. So if you hear the possibility that you yourself are a fallen angel, but not really fallen, that this is the knowledge I want to share. Who wants to, you know, there are people out there who have other puzzles to the pieces that I have gathered. If we are family, if you are one of my descendants, not that there are many, but if you are another Ravenheim, or if she says that no, this is completely nonsense, I want to be a football player, then okay, at least I did my part in trying to provide you with as accurate knowledge as possible. But I found people out there, we are working on the same thing, and I know that I've had my weak moments where I've been attacked, not attacked, where I've been riding on the frequency of, you know, we have a natural reaction to something like a large sound that all of a sudden is in our faces. And we are a bit agitated due to specific things. We could be exposed to stress, whatever. It's not an excuse, it's just an explanation. So we have a reaction, like the fuck you reaction, you know, because we are responding with reflexes. It could be a basic programming that we all have in us. And many times I put out content on both my sites that are completely outrageous. I felt shame, and I'm like, oh my god. Okay, well, put it away, move on. I have a side to me that as long as I'm putting my face out here, I will expose my dark sides and my light sides. At least I'm not smiling and telling you, hello, my beautiful 10 million people, here I am to talk about how the world is going to end in 3 minutes, but I have recently found out the truth, blah blah yada 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 yada. Not saying that these people are all wrong if they really have this kind of vibration. Yeah, they do, but I do see, unfortunately, a lot of masks out of there, and sometimes I carry many masks myself. And as soon as I turn off the camera and I say, okay, today I had this kind of mask, it had this kind of vibration. And because we are on a stage, and then I confront the light source directly with a different kind of language, which I unfortunately am not capable of teaching you right now. And that's when you access many vibrations and many of those masks that you will find them when you are connecting directly to the throne of God, which is in the center, localized in the center of your brain, also known as your pineal gland. Enough information for today. I thought 1 hour is cool. Okay. Turns out I could talk about this for 12 hours straight. I noticed another woman, she's called Ellen King. And I was like, you woman. Exactly. And her channel, what surprised me was that her channel is same followers as this channel. So, and I thought, a woman with this kind of knowledge, I bow to thee. And I realized I also have some things to put into your puzzle, just like you have lots of stuff to put into my puzzle. And what do you know? The people of air, the people of the swords, the queen of swords, king of swords, we seek knowledge. We seek knowledge, and we are bombarded with it non-stop 24/7. Sometimes we are drained and we need a rather large vacation. But needless to say that she's equally as obsessed as I am with this kind of knowledge. And in the end of the day, I hope that this kind of knowledge will nourish some of you as much as it's done with me. Highest of passion. It's not the tarot card alone. It's also decipher the language and also to be the creator. You're all creators, and I could say so much about that also, about creation. Be like a child. Do not have too many expectations to what you do or too many expectations to the outcome. Just be like the child, play, have fun, try to focus on light things, even if it is a stupid new age, fluffy puffy, all kind of things. If it keeps your vibration and state of mind in a high state of where you emit, the only word I've found so far is love. However, I realized there is something about the word I want to also tell you about. And today I've been very suspicious about the heart symbol. If she's correct about what I also suspected, then well, we know more about it, and if you're in, I want to share more about that as well. Well, catch you guys later, and thank you so much for your understanding. I cannot tell you I'll be back tomorrow 7 o'clock. I wish I was of that kind sometimes. Unfortunately, the only thing I can promise you is that I'm dedicated when it comes to knowledge, and I'm dedicated when it comes to sharing that knowledge. I'm also dedicated to many other things, which is love, which is how to serve and to create balance, and to study and share what I find on my path. In the end of the day, all paths lead to Rome. I don't know. What do you think? Namaste.